I have cancer. My girlfriend lied to sway me into proposing. I played along, but she didn't see what was coming. I still can't believe I'm typing this. Even now, my fingers are trembling like I've just walked away from a car wreck. And honestly, that's how it feels. Like my life just exploded in front of me, and I'm the only one who didn't see it coming. I don't usually post stuff like this, but I need to get it out of my system. I need someone to hear this. I need to know I'm not crazy. My name's Mark. I'm 33. I've always considered myself a down-to-earth guy. I work at a small auto shop, fix cars, mind my own business. Nothing flashy, but I liked my life. 2.5 years ago, I met someone at a backyard barbecue. Her name was Samantha. She was 28 when we met, worked retail at a store in the mall, and she had the spark to her. She could light up a room without even trying. We hit it off immediately. Within a month, we were basically inseparable. She moved into my place about 3 months in. We had that kind of whirlwind romance people talk about in movies, and for a while I really thought this was it. We were building something real. Fast forward to 3 months ago. She came home from work in tears. I mean, full-on breakdown, shaking, sobbing. I dropped everything. Thought she'd been in an accident or something. But then she told me she'd just gotten back from the doctor. I have stage 3 breast cancer, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Everything stopped. I don't even remember what I said. I think I just held her while she cried. My heart sank into my stomach. I felt powerless, terrified. She showed me paperwork, medical documents, test results. I didn't know what I was looking at, but it looked real enough. She said treatment would start soon. She was scared of the chemo, scared of the hair loss, scared of everything. And then she said, I want to get married before I lose my hair. I don't want to look sick in our wedding photos. It hit me like a truck. I hadn't proposed yet. I was planning to eventually. But now, she was dying. The woman I loved was dying. What was I supposed to do? Say no. So we got married. 2 weeks later, in the park where we had our first date. It was a small ceremony, just family and close friends. I remember her best friend, Naomi, barely looked at us the entire time. She seemed distant, distracted. Now I know why. Looking back, I feel like such an idiot. At the time, it all felt like a blur. I was so focused on being supportive, being present, doing everything I could to make her feel loved and safe. I rearranged my work schedule to be home more, offered to take her to appointments. I even researched alternative treatments, diets, whatever I could do, but she kept brushing me off. I don't want you to see me like that, she'd say. Let me have some dignity. Last week, I told her I was coming with her to her chemo session. I didn't ask. I told her. I figured, I'm her husband now, this is what I'm supposed to do. She lost it. She screamed at me, told me I was trying to control her, accused me of not trusting her. Then she hurled a glass against the wall. I'd never seen her like that. The rage in her eyes. It scared me. I backed off. I thought maybe she was just overwhelmed, emotional from the treatment, from everything. So I let it go. I shouldn't have. Yesterday, everything unraveled. She was in the shower. I was grabbing her laptop to order dinner. We always use hers since mine's ancient and slow. As I picked it up, a WhatsApp notification popped up. It was from Naomi. Sam, this has gone way too far. Mark deserves to know. My stomach dropped. I don't know what came over me, but I clicked it. I opened the full conversation and started scrolling. I don't even know how to describe what I felt. There were weeks of messages. Naomi begging her to tell me the truth. Samantha laughing about how convincing she'd been. There were links to websites about cancer symptoms, messages about practicing the act, and even a photo of a wig she bought and never used. She bragged about how she had me wrapped around her finger. I took screenshots of everything. My hands weren't shaking anymore. In that moment, I felt something snap inside me. Cold, steady, quiet. I waited until she got out of the shower. I watched her walk into the room, all smiles, acting like nothing was wrong. She even faked a wave of nausea and ran to the bathroom. I didn't say a word, just watched. She was so good at it. Too good. An hour later, her phone rang. It was Kathleen, another one of her friends. Samantha walked into the kitchen to talk. I stayed in the hallway. I don't think she knew I was standing there. I'll never forget what I heard. She was laughing, actually laughing. He's such an idiot. I can't believe he bought all of it, the crying, the papers, the diagnosis. Hook, line, and sinker. You should have seen his face at the wedding. He'll never leave me now. I recorded it. I got the whole thing on my phone. She doesn't know that I know. She doesn't know I've already spoken to a divorce lawyer. She doesn't know I have every screenshot, every message, every fake document saved and backed up. Right now, she's sitting in the kitchen, probably planning her next Oscar-worthy performance. Maybe about her miraculous recovery that she'll announce next month at her sister's birthday party. Everyone will be there, her family, mine, our friends, even her boss, who's been giving her paid medical leave. I used to think revenge was petty. That it was for people who couldn't move on. Not anymore. I'm not sad. I'm not even angry. I'm just clear. She thinks she's trapped me. That she's won. She has no idea what's coming. It's been 2 weeks since I found out the truth, and I swear to God, it's like living in a movie except I'm not watching it, I'm stuck inside it. Pretending. Smiling. Kissing the woman who faked cancer to manipulate me into marrying her. Every morning now feels like a scene I'm being forced to act in. She wakes up groggy, fake groggy sighs, tells me how tired she feels. She puts on this routine where she pops a few pills in front of me, carefully lining them up like it's part of a treatment regimen. I check the bottles. Multivitamins. Melatonin. Biotin for her hair. Every move she makes is calculated. Every emotion rehearsed. The part that kills me the most? She thinks she's so clever. Like I'm still completely fooled. She even told me the other night, while we were lying in bed, lights off, her head on my chest, "I'm so lucky to have you." Most guys would have run the moment they heard the C word. It took everything in me not to scream. Instead, I kissed the top of her head and said, "You don't have to worry. I'm not going anywhere." The amount of self-control it took to say that. I can't even describe it. But it's worth it. Because the more she thinks I'm in the dark, the more careless she becomes. I've been building my case, piece by piece. Remember Naomi, her best friend, the one who sent that WhatsApp message? She's been helping me behind the scenes. Turns out Naomi's been racked with guilt for months. She didn't know Samantha was actually going to go through with the lie. She thought it was a bluff, some twisted, emotional blackmail that would blow over. But it didn't. When I called Naomi and told her I knew, she broke down crying. She's been sending me screenshots, audio messages, everything she kept in case Sam turned on her. And believe me, she would have eventually. One of the messages Samantha sent her weeks before the wedding said, and I quote, "Mark's the kind of guy who'd never leave someone with cancer. This plan is perfect." That wasn't a guess. That was a calculated exploitation of who I am. She used my loyalty, my compassion, everything I pride myself on, and twisted it into a cage. The rage I feel, it's not loud. It's cold. Controlled. I started tailing her 2 days a week. She claims she's going to treatment at Memorial Hospital. So I drove there last Thursday, parked across the street during the time she said her session was scheduled. She never showed. But an hour later, guess where I spotted her? Coming out of a spa downtown. Hair perfect, nails done, shopping bags in both hands. She was laughing with her friend Kathleen like she didn't have a care in the world. I took photos from my car. The timestamp on them matches her supposed appointment. I sent them straight to my lawyer. We're putting together a file. She thinks she's in control. She has no clue the walls are already closing in. This morning, she threw a tantrum because I forgot to buy her post-chemo organic green juice from that overpriced juice bar near our house. She screamed about how I wasn't taking her health seriously. Slammed cabinets. Called me insensitive. I apologized. Kept my head down. All I could think about was the picture she posted last week, smiling with a smoothie in one hand, captioned "Pushing through the pain." There is no pain. There never was. What really got me yesterday was the spa selfie she accidentally posted to her Instagram story. She deleted it a few minutes later, probably realized the timeline didn't match up with her treatment schedule. But I already saved it. My lawyer said I'm doing everything right. Stay calm. Keep gathering. Keep documenting. And that's what I'm doing. I've also been slowly transferring money into a separate account. Nothing big enough to raise suspicion, just a few hundred every few days. I have no idea what she might do when I finally drop the hammer, but I'm not taking chances. She's starting to talk more and more about having kids. Last night she showed me a Pinterest board she made of nurseries and baby outfits. "We should start trying soon," she said, stroking my arm. "Now that I'm getting better." I nodded, smiled, played along. Meanwhile, I was silently fighting the urge to be sick. She even cried actual tears and said she felt so blessed to have beaten cancer and to be able to start a family. She cried. Over a lie. I didn't say anything. Just held her. There's one more thing. She's planning to announce her remission at her parents' anniversary party. It's in a couple of weeks, a huge gathering with extended family, old friends, coworkers, everyone. She's been working on a speech. I found the draft on her laptop when she asked me to check her email. It was sitting right there in a Word doc titled, "The Fight That Made Me Stronger." It read like a bad Hallmark movie. Dramatic metaphors. Talk of inner strength. How my love gave her the will to survive. She even wrote a section where she said she hoped to inspire other young women battling cancer. I don't think I've ever felt that level of disgust in my entire life. The fact that she's using other people's pain, real people, real battles, as her stage, that's what makes me furious. And that's why I'm not just walking away. I want everyone, her family, her coworkers, her boss who gave her paid leave, her friends who brought her food, the neighbors who prayed for her, I want them all to know. To see it. To hear it from her mouth. This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about the truth. I've got screenshots. Photos. Text messages. Fake medical documents she left on the kitchen table, literal JPEGs she printed off Google with pixelated hospital logos. I even set up my phone to record a conversation a few days ago. I casually asked her what her oncologist recommended for the next phase of treatment. She launched into a long, confident explanation naming a Dr. Barrington, describing his exact advice. There's no oncologist named Dr. Barrington in our entire city. I checked. I called every hospital. No one by that name. She made him up. She's even lying in her sleep now. The other night she mumbled something about rehearsing the speech in her dreams. I just lay there, eyes wide open, listening. In 3 weeks, she's going to stand in front of everyone and pretend to be a survivor. She'll cry probably. Talk about how hard it was. How proud she is. And then I'm going to end the show. My lawyer is ready. The divorce papers are already signed and sealed, just waiting for the right moment. Naomi and even Kathleen have agreed to write statements if needed. The web of lies she's built is tight. But it's also fragile. I'm going to let her keep weaving it a little longer. Because when it breaks, it's going to shatter. The day of the party felt like the longest day of my life. I'd spent the past 3 weeks pretending to be the man she thought she married, the supportive, loving husband who never doubted her. I went with her to get balloons for her remission celebration. I helped her pick out a dress. I even complimented the stupid pink ribbon cupcakes she'd ordered. And through all of it, I was watching her build her own stage. She didn't know it yet, but this party wasn't going to be the triumphant finale she'd imagined. It was going to be her undoing. The event was set at her parents' house, a big backyard gathering, lots of flowers, music, food, hugs, smiling faces. Her mom cried when she saw her. "My brave girl," she said, pulling Samantha into a long embrace. Samantha put her hand on her heart and gave this humble little nod like she was some kind of war hero coming home. I nearly threw up. People kept coming up to me, patting me on the back. "You're a rock, man. She's lucky to have you. Not every guy would stay through something like this." I just smiled, nodded, accepted their praise like I deserved it. God, if they only knew. Naomi was there. She looked pale, like she hadn't slept in days. Our eyes met across the yard. I gave her a small nod. She looked down and walked away. She couldn't even look at Samantha. I knew she was scared, but she promised she wouldn't stop me when the time came. Kathleen showed up late, no eye contact with either of us. She'd been quiet lately, but she'd already confessed to me in private. She knew about the lie. She just didn't know I knew she knew. But that didn't matter anymore. By 3 p.m. almost everyone had arrived. There must have been at least 25 people, her whole family, mine, old friends, neighbors, even a few coworkers, and her boss from the store. All of them smiling, drinking lemonade, talking about what a miracle this was. Samantha stood in the center of the yard, holding a glass of sparkling cider, tapping a spoon against it. "Everyone," she said with a glowing smile, "thank you for coming. I have something really special to share." And that was my cue. I stood up. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat, but I kept my voice steady. "Actually," I said, "we both have something to share." She froze, glass midair, smile flickering. "Sam," I continued, pulling out my phone, "why don't you go ahead and explain these photos to everyone?" I tapped the screen and held it up. Photo after photo. Her at the gym on a day she claimed she was too sick to move. Her at the beach with Kathleen, supposedly in the middle of a rough chemo week. A selfie at a spa, nails freshly done, while claiming she was in treatment. Screenshots of text messages between her and Naomi. Ones where she laughed about nailing the performance. Where she called me so easy to fool. Where she thanked Naomi for helping her look legit. Fake medical documents with pixelated hospital logos sitting on our kitchen table. A Google search for how to fake chemo symptoms. Her face went completely blank. Then red. Then pale. "Mark, what the hell are you doing?" she hissed. "Telling the truth," I said. The yard was dead silent. "You never had cancer," I continued, turning to the crowd. "None of it was real. You lied to everyone here, your parents, your friends, your boss, me for months. You faked being sick to manipulate me into marrying you." Her mom gasped so loudly it almost echoed. "Lies?" Samantha yelled. "He's lying." "Really?" I said calmly. "Then maybe you can tell everyone the name of your oncologist. Show us one real medical bill. Explain why you were shopping downtown during your scheduled chemo appointments." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. "Kathleen," I said, turning to her, "you want to tell everyone what Samantha told you 3 months ago?" Kathleen looked like she wanted to sink into the ground, but she finally stood up and faced the crowd. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. She made it up. All of it. She told me it was the only way to make sure Mark wouldn't leave her. I told her not to go through with it. She did it anyway. The sound of her mother breaking down into sobs was brutal. Samantha tried to bolt, but I stepped in her path. "We're not done," I said. "Show them the messages, Sam. The one where you wrote, 'He'll never leave me now,' right after I proposed. Show them how you laughed about fooling me." "Get out of my way," she screamed, pushing me. "You're ruining everything." Her brother stepped in and grabbed her by the arms before she could hit me. "I did it because I love you," she shrieked. I took a breath. "No, Sam. You did it because you thought I'd never find out." And then I pulled out the envelope I'd had in my pocket all afternoon. "Divorce papers. You have 2 options," I said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Sign these right now in front of all these people, or I send everything to everyone we know. Your work. Every friend. Every person who donated to your recovery fund. Your call." She stared at the envelope, then at me. For a second, I thought she might go full meltdown. But then her hands started to shake. She reached out, took the pen from me, and signed. People were still frozen in place. Her mother had turned away, sobbing into the arms of Samantha's aunt. Her dad looked like he'd aged 10 years in 5 minutes. I walked out without another word. Naomi followed me to the front gate. "That was brutal," she said quietly. I looked at her. "So was faking cancer?" She nodded. "You did the right thing." I didn't feel triumphant. I felt numb, tired, but free. An hour later, my phone started blowing up. Samantha had posted some long, dramatic Facebook status about how I'd emotionally abused her, manipulated her, gaslit her, and publicly humiliated her. She claimed I fabricated everything to make her look crazy. I didn't argue. I didn't write a counterpost. I just uploaded screenshots. All of them. Within minutes, people were commenting, tagging each other. Her coworkers. Her cousins. Her old roommates. Even her former roommate, who was a breast cancer survivor, posted something that made my jaw drop. "Faking cancer isn't just disgusting. It's evil. You used real people's pain for attention. You deserve every bit of this fallout." Samantha deleted her post not long after. But the damage was done. She tried calling me from her number, from a blocked number, from her sister's phone. I didn't answer. Kathleen texted me later that night. Apparently, Samantha had already started calling around, trying to do damage control. First, she said it was all a misunderstanding. Then she claimed she'd been misdiagnosed. Then she blamed her mental health. No one was buying it. She messaged my parents, my boss, our mutual friends. Most of them didn't even respond. The few who did told her flat out, "You lied to everyone. You made people cry. You made them scared. You crossed a line no one should ever cross." Her sister texted me this morning. Samantha moved back in with their parents. She said Samantha can't leave the house without people whispering. Can't open Instagram without seeing her name dragged. I didn't even have to destroy her. I just let the truth come out. And the truth did the rest. The day after the party, it felt like the whole world had shifted. I slept for the first time in what felt like months, real, deep, dreamless sleep. I didn't wake up sweating or panicked or mentally rehearsing fake conversations. I woke up in silence. Alone. And for once, that didn't feel empty. It felt clean. But while I was finally exhaling, Samantha's world was starting to cave in. It started small, just a trickle. A couple of people untagged themselves from her photos on social media. A few "get well soon" posts quietly disappeared. Then came the comments. At first polite, "Is this real? What's going on?" Then sharper. "You lied about cancer? I donated to your treatment fund." Samantha tried to act like it wasn't happening. She posted a black and white photo of herself with a long caption about how sometimes the people we love the most are the ones who hurt us the deepest. It got 5 likes. One of them was from her burner account. She followed it with a story about how she needed space and healing after a toxic marriage. That lasted maybe 6 hours before someone responded with screenshots of her messages, the ones Naomi and I had made public. By the next day, it wasn't just whispers anymore. It was a full-on implosion. Kathleen, the friend who used to help her keep up the lie, had had enough. She wrote a public apology post and tagged every single person who had ever donated, brought food, or offered help during Sam's treatment. She wrote, "I was part of this and I'm ashamed. I should have said something sooner. She lied. To all of you. And I helped. I'm sorry." The post exploded. Comments poured in. Dozens. Then hundreds. Her coworkers. High school friends. People she barely knew but who had shared her brave journey post. It spread through Facebook groups, Instagram tags, even TikTok. Someone made a dramatic voiceover with screenshots and background music. And I didn't lift a finger. That's what shocked her most, I think. She thought I'd orchestrate some big revenge campaign. She kept texting, calling, emailing, accusing me of trying to ruin her life. She even came to my job one morning, screaming in the parking lot. Said I manipulated her into looking crazy. Security had to escort her off the property. Someone filmed it. The video hit the local Facebook community page by lunchtime. Caption, "The girl who faked cancer got kicked out of her ex's workplace." What got me was what she was wearing, that $200 athletic set she bought with donation money, the one she used to say was her chemo comfort outfit. She wore it like a badge of victimhood. Ironic. That same evening, I got a message from a guy named Devin. Turns out he used to date her years ago. He'd seen the drama online and felt compelled to reach out. According to him, this wasn't new behavior. She'd faked injuries in the past. Staged a car accident once to skip a final exam. Even scammed her college roommate out of a vacation fund. It was like peeling back layers of rot. What I thought was a crack in her character turned out to be the whole foundation. The real kicker came when her older sister, Megan, showed up at my house. She was furious, not at me, at Sam. Said she found out Samantha used money from the treatment fund to pay for a trip she claimed was to clear her mind before another round of chemo. Turns out it was a spa weekend. Megan had offered to pay for her son's physical therapy that same month, and Samantha told her she couldn't spare a dime. "You're not sick," Megan screamed at her on my front lawn. "You're just sick in the head." I didn't even get involved. Just stood on the porch drinking my coffee while Samantha sobbed and screamed, begging her sister not to say anything else. Megan didn't care. She kept yelling. And the neighbors? Yeah, they were all watching too. Word had spread fast. Our neighborhood Facebook group had a running thread about the woman who cried cancer. People were sharing their own experiences with real illness, comparing it to what Sam had done. The betrayal. The manipulation. The cruelty of pretending to be one of them. Even her job let her go. Not because I complained, I didn't. But her manager found out she'd been posting gym selfies and vacation pics on her private Instagram while she was supposedly on medical leave. His wife saw Kathleen's public apology and connected the dots. HR followed up and, well, that was that. She tried to say it was misunderstood medical leave. No one bought it. Her lawyer contacted mine and said she wouldn't contest anything in the divorce. I think even her attorney realized it would just bring more embarrassment. She signed everything quietly, no more tantrums, no more stunts. That was probably the smartest decision she made in this whole mess. She's moving away, apparently. Back to her aunt's place in another state. Megan told me she can't even go to the grocery store without people staring. Her parents barely speak to her. Her boss blocked her number. Friends she's had for years ghosted her. And I didn't do any of that. I just told the truth. She did the rest all by herself. My mom asked me a few nights ago if I felt guilty. If I thought I took things too far. I told her the truth. The only thing I regret is not seeing through it sooner. Because this wasn't just a lie about me. It wasn't just tricking a guy into getting married. She faked cancer. She played on the deepest fears and empathy of everyone around her. People cried for her. Prayed for her. Took time off work to help her. They fed her, drove her places, gave her money. Some even opened up about their own family losses, and she just nodded, smiled, and lied to their faces. That's not a mistake. That's a betrayal. So no, I don't feel bad that she's uncomfortable now. That people know. That her reputation is toast. She earned every second of that. The last message she sent me from yet another new number just said, "I hope you're happy now that everyone hates me." I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. You did that all by yourself. Then I blocked the number, put my phone down, and walked outside to breathe the clean night air. For the first time in years, I didn't feel trapped. I felt free.